Can you tell me about your background and your role at Aclara?
Sure. So I've got about 20 years in the power industry, mostly in software, mostly on the power generation side. I joined Aclara about a year ago, where I've now moved to the utility side of software, and I'm the vice president of software products, and I own everything from head end and meter data management all the way through consumer engagement, which we're here to celebrate this week.
What do you see as the biggest challenges utilities are facing as they try to engage their customers?
So I see there's two really big challenges. One is typically you don't talk about your utility, right? You don't know they're there, except you probably have them on auto pay, or you go and write a check and pay them once a month for your usage. The second piece is, if you do have an interaction with a utility, it's probably negative. You probably have an electric bill that's too high, a water bill that's too high, and the first time you hear about it is when you get that bill in the mail, you've opened it up and you're surprised. So now you're calling your utility, why did this happen?
How do you think technology can resolve these issues?
I think the first piece is you have AMI data, and the utilities have this rich set of information about a house and how it's run, and they can tell when you're using electricity and how you're using it based on disaggregating it down to use this much for lighting, use this much for heat and ventilation. Utilities can take that information and put it into a consumer engagement platform where they can now show a user how they've been using their data all along. Right? They don't need to wait until day 30 of a billing cycle. On day 10, they can tell them, you're using at a faster pace than normal, you may have an issue, and be engaged with their consumers right from every day of the month.
What do you see as the biggest challenges utilities are facing as they try to engage their customers?
If you look at the way utilities are today, like I said, a lot of times you don't even think about them because there's very little value to your everyday life. But if utilities have this AMI data and they can come and tell me, hey Frank, you can reduce your electric bill by $20 a month if you did these 3 easy things. Now all of a sudden I'm interested and I want to hear more. And they've gone from a person I sent a check to now my trusted energy advisor. And if I'm somebody that's thinking about smart home, now I want to know more. How can it help me make my smart home effective?
What role does a utility play in a smart home?
If you think about smart devices that you go buy a light bulb, for example. You probably bought it so that you can dim the light switch while you're sitting on a couch because you don't want to get up and go and turn it off. The utilities have all this information about your home, how it runs, and they can actually tell you, if you put that smart light bulb at 80% instead of at 100% all the time, you can save $6 a month. And now I've bought this device for convenience that actually helps me save electricity. And that's where I think that utility really goes to become my trusted advisor on energy savings, and allows me to take advantage of all these devices I just bought because I want to do something convenient for myself or fun for myself, versus I didn't think anything about saving energy when I bought that light bulb.
So now that we have all this data, what's it take to really get something out of it? How do you really find the gold in all that data?
I think the utility remains involved because that AMI data is their golden egg, right? If you have that AMI data, you have something that Google doesn't have, you have something that Alexa doesn't have. You have the knowledge of how a user uses electricity, or how they use water, how they use gas, and you also have the knowledge of this is abnormal usage for them. This is in a good way, or this abnormal usage in a bad way. You also have all the data of their neighbors. So you can start making inferences about that user based on, well, this house uses $50 a month of electricity towards heating and ventilation. My house, which is the same size, uses $100 a month. I probably have an issue. Now the utility is the only one that can identify it because they're the only one that has the proper data set around both homes and the analytics behind it to understand when one thing is abnormal versus the other.
Where do utility engagement platforms need to go next?
Where you go next is, I want to be able to say, Alexa, save me $20 on my electric bill. And I also want to put in a caveat. Don't do it by touching air conditioning when I'm home. And there's got to be an analytics engine that can go through and say, here's how Frank uses his electricity. And then it can go say, I understand Frank wants a comfort setting, and I understand Frank is not home during these hours. I'm going to go do whatever I need to do then. I'm going to dim lights when he's not going to notice it. I'm going to turn off the TV when he's not home, things like that. But it's all going to be taking that AMI data, figuring out where the little golden eggs are for Frank, and that would be a very personalized solution that then goes back through Alexa or through your home, smart home, one way or the other, and does all those comfort settings for you. Because if Alexa tells me, hey Frank, you can do it by going and turn down your air conditioning, I might do it today, but I probably forget to do it tomorrow.
Where do you think the gap is today?
There's two real gaps. One is the way utilities are looking at their data is very utility goal oriented in the way that it's, I want to make sure I get my bills out on time. If the government's giving me a regulation, I want to make sure I meet that regulation, and I want to do it in a very structured manner. Second gap is on the consumer side. They go and buy these smart home devices not because they want to save energy. They want it for the convenience, and everything else is secondary. And until the utilities figure out, I need to be your friend, I need to help you save energy, I need to make sure you're continuously engaged in my programs, and I can do it by helping you utilize the things you're already doing, helping you live more comfortable, helping you stay within your budgetary needs. Until that gap's crossed where the utility jumps in and helps me save my money, I'm just not thinking about the utility on a regular basis until I have to send them my bill.
What does Aclara bring to closing the gap?
Aclara has the AMI system, whether it's electric, water, or gas, and we have the consumer engagement piece. So we understand the AMI data and how to mine it. And when we think about the two challenges that I mentioned earlier, we have Aclara ACE, which is our adaptive consumer engagement platform that allows the utility to put data at the customer's fingertips. And when you think about the only time you ever deal with your utility is a negative interaction, well, with our ACE platform, we're able to give you notifications on day 10. Hey, your bill is trending high. You might want to turn your air conditioner down a little bit so you're not wasting energy. Or you have a leak in your faucet. You're going to have a high water bill if you don't go and fix your plumbing. And we're using the analytics from our meter data management system to feed these helpful tips directly to the utilities end users so that the interactions start becoming that positive interaction, and the utilities start becoming that trusted advisor so that when I start investing in my smart home, I'm going to turn to my utility to help me set up my smart home in a way that meets my energy saving goals, whether it's for comfort, convenience, or for money.